Listen to me carefully. I need you to feel this, not just hear. Good things are on the way. Not maybe, not someday, not if luck shows up. I'm talking about real blessings, real breakthroughs, real opportunity that are already moving in your direction right now. But here's the truth most people miss. Good things don't just come because you want them. They come because you're becoming someone who's ready to receive them. You see, gratitude is not just saying a thank you when life is easy. Gratitude is standing in the middle of struggle, in the middle of pressure, in the middle of doubt, and still declaring, something great is coming from me. That's power, that's faith, that's vision. When you wake up every morning believing something good is on the way, your mindset shifts, your posture changes, your energy rises, and suddenly the same world that looked against you starts working for you. Some of you are frustrated because you don't see results yet. But let me tell you something. Seeds don't grow the same day they're planted. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Underground, roots are forming. Strength is building. Character is developing. And when your season comes, it won't just be good, it'll be undeniable. Stop speaking doubt over your life. Stop announcing failure before you even try. Your words are powerful. When you say, nothing good ever happens to me, your mind starts searching for proof. But when you declare good things are on the way, your mind begins looking for opportunities. And what you look for, you find. Gratitude turns ordinary days into blessings. Gratitude turns small wins into momentum. Gratitude turns pain into purpose. When you're thankful for what you already have, you unlock the door for what's coming next. The universe, life, God, whatever you believe, responds to appreciation. Because appreciation proves you're ready for elevation. You to understand something. Delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Some blessings take longer because they're bigger. Some victories take longer because they require a stronger version of you. So instead of complaining about the wait, prepare during the wait. Build discipline. Strengthen your mindset. Sharpen your skill. Because when your opportunity arrives, you won't have time to get ready. You'll have to already be ready. Say it with conviction. Good things are on the way. Not because life is easy, but because you refuse to quit. Not because luck favors you, but because effort follows you. Not because doors open magically, but because you keep knocking until they do. You remember this? Storms don't last forever. Egypts don't last forever. Struggles don't last forever. But the strength you gain from them, that stays. The confidence you build from them, that stays. The lessons you learn from them, that stays. And those things are exactly what prepare you to receive what's coming. So today, stand tall, speak life, expect greatness, be grateful before the blessing arrives. Because the person who can celebrate before they receive is the person who proves they truly believe. Good things are not just coming. Good things are already on the way. Gratitude before results is the highest form of faith. And most people will never understand that until life humbles them enough to see it. Anybody can be thankful when the check clears, when the door opens, when the applause is loud, when the victory is obvious. Anybody can smile when the blessing is already in their hands. But it takes a different level of mindset, a different level of discipline, a different level of spiritual maturity to say thank you before you see anything changing. That kind of gratitude doesn't come from comfort. It comes from belief. It comes from vision. It comes from knowing deep in your soul that what you're waiting for is already on its way, even if your eyes can't see it yet. Most people live their lives backwards. They say, when I get the opportunity, then I'll be grateful. When I reach success, then I'll appreciate life. When things start going right, then I'll have faith. But real transformation begins when you flip that thinking and decide that gratitude comes first. Gratitude is not a reaction. Gratitude is a decision. It is a mindset you choose before evidence appears. And when you choose it early, when you choose it in advance, when you choose it while you're still struggling, something powerful happens inside you. Your perspective shifts, your energy rises, your patience grows stronger. Suddenly, you're not desperate anymore because you're already thankful for what's coming. There's a reason gratitude is powerful. It changes how you see your situation. When you're ungrateful, every obstacle looks like proof that life is against you. Every delay feels like rejection. Every closed door feels like a personal attack. But when you're grateful, even before results show up, you start interpreting those same obstacles differently. Now they look like training. Now they look like preparation. Now they look like signs that something bigger is being built inside you. The circumstances might not change immediately, but you change immediately. And when you change, your entire experience of life changes. Think about a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't stand over the soil screaming at it because nothing has grown yet. He doesn't dig the seed back up every day to check if it's working. He plants it, waters it, and trusts the process. Why? Because he has faith in something he cannot see. That is gratitude before results. He's thankful for the harvest while the ground still looks empty. He's excited about fruit while the field still looks like dirt. That is how winners think. That is how resilient people live. They don't wait for proof. They operate from belief. Gratitude before results also protects your mind from negativity. When nothing seems to be happening, doubt tries to creep in. Fear whispers that maybe it won't work. Comparison tells you everyone else is ahead. But gratitude acts like armor for your mindset. When you choose to be thankful anyway, you block those voices. You remind yourself that your story isn't finished. You remind yourself that progress isn't always visible. You remind yourself that timing matters. Instead of drowning in frustration, you stand in expectation. There is something else people don't realize. Gratitude is not just emotional, it's strategic. When you're grateful before results, you stay consistent longer. You keep working when others quit. You keep showing up when others give up. Why? Because you're not relying on immediate reward to stay motivated. Your motivation is coming from belief, not outcomes. And belief lasts longer than excitement. Excitement fades when things get hard. Belief gets stronger when things get hard. So while everyone else loses momentum, you keep building it. That consistency is what eventually creates the results you were waiting for. A lot of people sabotage themselves because they only celebrate finished victories. They never celebrate progress. They never celebrate growth. They never celebrate effort. So their journey feels empty and they burn out before they arrive. But when you practice gratitude early, you start appreciating every step. You appreciate the lesson. You appreciate the challenge. You appreciate the chance to try again. That appreciation fuels endurance. And endurance is what separates people who dream from people who achieve. Gratitude before results is also a declaration. It is you telling life, telling yourself, telling your future, I trust what's coming, even though I can't see it yet. That declaration has power. It programs your mind to look for opportunities instead of problems. It trains your focus to recognize possibility instead of limitation. I mean, what you focus on expands. If you focus on what's missing, you feel lack. If you focus on what's coming, you feel hope. Hope is fuel. Hope is strength. Hope is the energy that keeps you moving when logic says stop. You don't need evidence to be grateful. You need perspective. Because even in your hardest season, there's always something you can thank life for. Maybe you haven't reached your goal yet, but you woke up today. Maybe the door hasn't opened yet, but you still have the chance to knock. Maybe the reward hasn't arrived yet, but you're stronger than you were last year. Gratitude shifts your attention from what you lack to what you possess. When you see what you possess, you realize you already have more than enough to keep going. People who wait for results before they're grateful often stay stuck. They stay stuck because they're constantly measuring their worth by outcomes. If they don't see progress, they feel like failure. If they don't see change, they feel like quitting. But people who practice gratitude first don't get trapped like that. Their confidence doesn't depend on immediate success. Their joy doesn't depend on instant rewards. Their faith doesn't depend on visible proof. They carry their own encouragement inside them. And that inner encouragement keeps them moving forward, no matter what the outside world looks like. Gratitude before results is also a form of courage. It takes courage to be thankful when you're still waiting. It takes courage to smile when you're still struggling. It takes courage to believe when nothing around you confirms your belief. But that courage builds strength. Every time you choose gratitude in a hard moment, your resilience grows. Every time you say thank you in a difficult season, your mindset gets tougher. Over time, that toughness becomes unshakable confidence. And once you have that kind of confidence, no obstacle can intimidate you for long. There will be days when you feel like nothing is working. Days when it seems like all your effort is going nowhere. Days when you question whether your dream is even possible. Those are the days gratitude matters most. Not because it magically fixes everything overnight, but because it keeps your spirit from collapsing. It keeps your vision alive. It keeps your determination breathing. Gratitude is the light you carry through dark seasons until sunrise finally arrives. Another truth is that results often come quietly at first. They don't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes they show up as small improvements, subtle shifts, tiny opportunities. If you're only grateful for big breakthroughs, you might miss them. But if you're grateful before results, you'll notice even a smaller sign of progress. You'll see that conversation as a chance. You'll see that lesson as growth. You'll see that delay as preparation. And because you notice those small things, you use them. And because you use them, they multiply. Gratitude also transforms your attitude toward time. Instead of feeling impatient, you become prepared. Instead of feeling rushed, you become focused. Instead of feeling behind, you become determined. Time stops feeling like an enemy and starts feeling like an ally. You realize that what's meant for you is worth building slowly. You realize that rushing the process can ruin the result. So you stop trying to force outcomes, and start trusting development. That trust creates peace. That peace gives you clarity, and clarity helps you make better decisions. The world often teaches people to chase results obsessively. It tells them that outcomes are everything, that numbers define value, that recognition equals worth. But gratitude before results breaks that illusion. It reminds you that your value exists before success. It reminds you that your effort matters before applause. It reminds you that your journey counts before arrival. When you understand that, you stop living like you're incomplete until you win. You start living like you're already blessed while you build. And here's the powerful part. When you live with gratitude first, results often come faster. Not because gratitude is magic, but because gratitude changes you. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your patience. It improves your attitude. It increases your persistence. All of those qualities make you more effective, more disciplined, more consistent, and effectiveness plus consistency always leads to progress. So in a way, gratitude doesn't just prepare you for success. It helps create it. There will always be people who doubt what they can't see. They'll question your optimism. They'll mock your faith. They'll say you're unrealistic for believing before results appear. But those people are usually the ones who quit early. They're the ones who need proof before effort. They're the ones who stop when progress is slow. You cannot let their mindset become yours. You have to protect your vision. You have to guard your belief. You have to stay thankful even when nobody else understands why. Because one day results will show up. One day the door will open. One day the opportunity will arrive. And when it does, it won't feel strange to you. It won't feel shocking. It won't feel undeserved. It will feel natural. It will feel earned. It will feel expected. Why? Because you were grateful before it happened. You already believed it was coming. So when it finally arrives, it feels like confirmation, not surprise. Gratitude before results is the highest form of faith because it proves you trust the process more than you trust your doubts. It proves you believe in possibility more than you believe in fear. It proves you see potential even when circumstances look empty. That kind of faith is rare, but it's also powerful. It turns ordinary people into unstoppable ones. It turns waiting into preparation. It turns struggle into strength. And it turns hope into reality. So choose gratitude now, not later. Choose it while you're building. Choose it while you're learning. Choose it while you're waiting. Let it shape your mindset. Let it guide your attitude. Let it fuel your persistence. Because when gratitude comes before results, results eventually come in abundance. And when they do, you won't just celebrate the outcome. You'll appreciate the journey that made you strong enough to receive it. What you consistently expect, you eventually experience. That statement is not just motivational language meant to make you feel good for a moment. It is a principle that quietly shapes the direction of people's lives every single day. Expectations are powerful because they influence how you think, how you act, how you react, and how you persist. Long before results show up in your reality, they show up in your mind. And what lives in your mind long enough begins to shape the world around you. That is why two people can stand in the exact same situation, face the exact same obstacles, and walk away with completely different outcomes. One expected growth and found it. The other expected failure and confirmed it. Your expectations become your internal instructions. They tell your mind what to look for, what to ignore, what to pursue, and what to avoid. If you expect rejection, your mind scans every interaction for signs that someone doesn't value you. If you expect opportunity, your mind scans every moment for openings you can step into. Nothing outside changes at first. The environment stays the same, the circumstances stay the same, the people stay the same. But your interpretation changes, and that interpretation determines your decisions. Decisions determine actions. Actions determine results. And results eventually look like proof that your expectations were right all along. Most people don't realize they are living inside expectations they never consciously chose. Those expectations were planted by past failures, negative comments, disappointments, and comparisons. Maybe someone once told them they weren't good enough. Maybe they tried something and didn't succeed the first time. Maybe they watched others move ahead while they felt stuck. Over time, those moments created internal belief about what they should expect from life. Without realizing it, they started anticipating struggle, anticipating rejection, anticipating limits. And because they expected those things, they behaved in ways that made those outcomes more likely. They hesitated. They doubted. They held back. They stopped early. Their expectations shaped their behavior, and their behavior shaped their reality. But expectations can be rewritten. Just because you learn to expect disappointment does not mean you are destined to live with it. Expectations are not fixed laws. They are mental habits. And habits can be changed when you deliberately choose new ones. When you start expecting growth instead of failure, you approach challenges differently. When you start expecting progress instead of stagnation, you keep going longer. When you start expecting possibilities instead of limits, you begin to notice doors that were always there, but you never saw before. The world didn't suddenly create new opportunities. You simply train your mind to recognize them. Consistency is the key. Expecting something once or twice will not transform your life. A single positive thought cannot undo years of negative conditioning. But when expectation becomes consistent, when it becomes your default mindset rather than a temporary mood, it begins to reshape your internal world. And your internal world is the blueprint for your external life. If you consistently expect improvement, your mind starts searching for ways to improve. If you consistently expect solutions, your mind starts generating them. If you consistently expect growth, your mind starts guiding you toward actions that create it. Think about how athletes prepare before competition. They don't walk onto the field expecting to fail. They visualize success. They imagine winning. They see themselves performing well long before the game begins. That expectation doesn't guarantee victory, but it prepares their mind to perform at its highest level. It sharpens focus. It steadies nerves. It increases confidence, and confidence affects performance. The same principle applies to every area of life. When you expect something positive consistently, you train your mind to operate in a way that supports that outcome. Expectation also influences resilience. When someone expects life to be impossible, every obstacle feels like confirmation that they should quit. But when someone expects progress, obstacles feel temporary. They feel like part of the path instead of the end of it. That difference matters. The first person stops when things get hard. The second person keeps going. Over time, the person who keeps going gains experience, skill, and strength. Eventually, they succeed. From the outside, it looks like they were lucky or gifted. But in reality, their consistent expectation of progress kept them in the game long enough to grow into success. There is another layer to this principle. Expectations affect not only how you see the world, but also how you see yourself. If you expect yourself to fail, you start to treat yourself like someone who will. You procrastinate. You avoid risks. You settle for less. But if you expect yourself to succeed, you treat yourself differently. You prepare. You invest time in learning. You hold yourself accountable. Your self-image rises to match your expectations, and your behavior rises to match your self-image. That alignment is powerful because it creates momentum. Once momentum begins, progress becomes easier. And once progress becomes visible, belief becomes stronger. Many people think expectation is the same as wishful thinking, but it isn't. Wishful thinking is passive. It hopes without acting. Expectation, when it is real and consistent, is active. It pushes you to behave in ways that align with what you believe is coming. If you truly expect improvement, you don't sit still. You prepare for it, you study, you train, you adjust, you grow. Your expectation becomes a driving force behind your effort. An effort repeated daily eventually produces results. It is important to understand that expectations do not control everything. Life still has uncertainty. Challenges still appear. Unexpected events still happen. But expectations influence how you respond to those events. Two people can face the same setback. One expects defeat and gives up. The other expects eventual success and adapts. The setback is identical. The response is different, and the response determines what happens next. Over time, those different responses lead to completely different lives. Consistent expectation also shapes your emotional state. When you expect good things, you feel hopeful. Hope gives you energy. Energy fuels action. Action creates progress. Progress reinforces hope. It becomes a cycle that strengthens itself. On the other hand, when you expect negative outcomes, you feel anxious or discouraged. Those emotions drain your energy. Low energy reduces action. Less action produces fewer results. Fewer results reinforce negativity. That cycle also strengthens itself. The direction of your life often depends on which cycle you feed. Some people are afraid to expect good things because they think it will lead to disappointment if results don't come quickly. So they lower their expectations as a form of self-protection. They believe that expecting less will hurt less. But lowering expectations usually lowers effort, and lower effort lowers results. In trying to avoid disappointment, they actually increase the chances of it. High expectation, when combined with persistence, does the opposite. It raises effort. It increases resilience. It keeps you moving. And movement is what eventually leads to change. Consistent expectation is like programming. Your mind listens to what you repeatedly tell it. If you repeatedly tell yourself that nothing works out for you, your mind accepts that as a command. It starts filtering your experiences through that belief. But if you repeatedly tell yourself that progress is coming, your mind accepts that too. It starts filtering your experiences differently. The external world may not change instantly, but your perception does. And perception influences action. Over time, those actions reshape reality. There will be moments when reality does not match your expectations right away. Those moments test you. They test whether your expectation is truly consistent or only temporary. Anyone can expect good things when everything is going well. The real test is whether you keep expecting them when things seem slow, uncertain, or difficult. If you hold your expectations steady during those times, you build mental strength. That strength becomes the foundation of perseverance. And perseverance is often the hidden ingredient behind every meaningful achievement. Your expectations also affect the people around you. When you expect growth, positivity, and progress, your attitude reflects it. People can feel that energy. They respond to it. Opportunities often come through people, and people are drawn to those who carry belief instead of doubt. This doesn't mean you have to pretend everything is perfect. It means you carry a quiet confidence that something good is possible. That confidence changes how you communicate, how you present yourself, and how others perceive you. Those subtle shifts can open doors you didn't even know existed. Another important truth is that expectations grow stronger with repetition. The more often you choose positive expectation, the more natural it becomes. At first, it might feel forced. It might feel unnatural if you're used to expecting the worst. But every time you deliberately choose a better expectation, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new one. Eventually, the new expectation becomes automatic. It becomes your normal way of thinking. And once it is your normal, it shapes your life without you having to consciously try. Consistency means you don't change your expectations based on temporary circumstances. You don't abandon belief just because progress is slow. You don't lower your vision just because results haven't arrived yet. You hold your expectation steady long enough for your actions to catch up with it. That patience is crucial because meaningful results often take time. Seeds do not become trees overnight. Skills do not develop instantly. Success does not appear the moment you decide you want it. But when your expectation stays strong, you keep working long enough for growth to happen. There is power in expecting good things, not as fantasy, but as commitment. When you expect something consistently, you start preparing for it before it arrives. You organize your life around it. You develop habits that support it. You align your choices with it. By the time the opportunity shows up, you are ready for it because you have been living as if it were already on its way. That readiness is what allows some people to step into opportunities quickly while others hesitate and miss them. What you consistently expect, you eventually experience. Because expectation shapes preparation, preparation shapes performance, and performance shapes results. It is a chain reaction that begins in the mind and ends in reality. The moment you change the first link, you change the entire chain. That is why guarding your expectations is one of the most important things you can do for your future. They are not small thoughts. They are seeds. And seeds, when planted consistently and nurtured daily, eventually grow into something real. So expect growth, expect progress, expect lessons, expect breakthroughs. Expect that your effort matters. Expect that your persistence will pay off. Expect that your future can be better than your past. Hold those expectations not just once, not just when you feel motivated, but every day, in every season, through every challenge. Because when expectation becomes consistent, it becomes powerful. And when it becomes powerful, it begins to shape your life in ways you once thought were impossible. Delays are preparation seasons, not punishment seasons. Most people misunderstand delays because they judge them only by how they feel, not by what they produce. Waiting feels uncomfortable, slowness feels frustrating, silence feels discouraging. And because those emotions are unpleasant, many assume that delay must mean something is wrong, something is broken, or something is being denied. But what if delay is not rejection at all? What if delay is construction? What if what feels like stillness is actually progress happening in places you cannot see yet? The truth is that many of life's greatest transformations happen out of sight, beneath the surface, behind the scenes, and beyond the timeline you originally expected. Think about how nature works. Nothing meaningful in nature grows instantly. Trees take years before they provide shade. Rivers take time before they carve valleys. Mountains take ages before they form. Yet no one stands in front of a seed and shouts at it for not becoming a forest overnight. We understand that growth has stages. We understand that development has timing. But when it comes to our own lives, we forget that same principle. We want results immediately. We want answers now. We want doors open today. And when that doesn't happen, we assume delay means denial. In reality, delay often means preparation. Preparation seeds are rarely comfortable because they stretch you. They expose your weaknesses so you can strengthen them. They reveal your habits so you can improve them. They challenge your patience so you can expand it. None of that feels easy. But ease has never been the requirement for growth. It requires pressure. Growth requires time. Growth requires refinement. And refinement cannot be rushed without being ruined. If a diamond could speak, it would probably describe its formation as intense pressure rather than gentle comfort. Yet that pressure is exactly what makes it valuable. Many people quit during delay because they think nothing is happening. They measure progress only by visible results. If they cannot see change, they assume change does not exist. But visibility is not the only evidence of progress. A person learning discipline may not see results immediately, yet discipline is forming. Someone developing patience may not see rewards yet, but patience is strengthening. Someone practicing consistency may not see success yet, but consistency is becoming part of their identity. These invisible developments matter because they shape who you are, and who you become determines what you can handle when opportunities finally arrive. If success came before preparation, it would overwhelm you. If responsibility arrived before readiness, it would crush you. If opportunity appeared before growth, it will slip through your hands. Delay protects you from that. It gives you time to become the person capable of sustaining what you're asking for. Instead of viewing delay as something working against you, you can begin seeing it as something working for you. It is life's way of saying you are in training, not in trouble. Training seasons are not punishments. They are investments. There is a hidden advantage in delay that most people overlook. Delay builds endurance. When something takes time, you must learn to stay committed without immediate reward. That ability is rare, and it is powerful. Anyone can stay motivated for a few days when excitement is fresh. But staying focused for months or years without visible results requires inner strength. That strength becomes a competitive advantage later because when challenges appear, you already know how to persist. You already know how to continue. You already know how to remain steady when progress feels slow. Delay also clarifies desire. Sometimes you think you want something, but time reveals whether you truly do. When results are instant, you never discover the depth of your commitment. But when results take time, your persistence becomes a test. If you continue showing up, continue learning, continue improving despite the wait, that proves your desire is real. And when desire is real, effort becomes sustainable. You no longer rely on motivation alone. You rely on commitment. Commitment is stronger than motivation because motivation can fade, while commitment is a decision you renew daily. Another reason delay exists is to teach wisdom. If everything happened the moment you wished for it, you would never learn timing. You would never learn strategy. You would never learn discernment. Waiting forces you to observe, to reflect, to evaluate. It slows you down long enough to notice details you would have missed if everything moved fast. Wisdom often grows in slow seasons because slowness gives you space to think. And thinking deeply helps you make better choices when action finally becomes necessary. Delay can also strengthen gratitude. When something arrives instantly, it is easy to take it for granted. But when you wait, when you work, when you endure, when you hope, when you persist, the arrival means more. You appreciate it differently. You value it differently. You protect it differently. The wait transforms the reward from something casual into something meaningful. That appreciation is important because it helps you keep what you receive. Many people lose opportunities not because they were unqualified to get them, but because they were ungrateful after receiving them. It is important to remember that delay is not empty time. It is active time. Even if nothing looks different on the outside, something can be changing on the inside. Character can be developing, perspective can be expanding, skills can be improving, confidence can be forming, faith can be deepening. These internal changes are often more important than external ones because they stay with you. External success can come and go, but internal strength remains. And internal strength is what allows you to rebuild, recover, and rise again no matter what happens. People often compare their timelines to others and feel discouraged when they see someone else moving faster. Comparison can make delay feel like failure. But timelines are not identical because purposes are not identical. One person's journey might require a longer preparation season because what they are meant to handle requires greater strength. Another person's path might move faster because their assignment is different. Judging your progress by someone else's pace can blind you to your own development. Your responsibility is not to match their speed. Your responsibility is to complete your preparation. Delays can also redirect you. Sometimes you are moving towards something that looks right, but isn't truly aligned with your growth. A delay can slow you down long enough to notice a better direction. At first, that interruption might feel frustrating, but later you may realize it saved you from a path that would not have fulfilled you. Redirection is often disguised as delay. It pauses your momentum just long enough for clarity to catch up with you. Without that pause, you might have continued running towards something that was never meant for you. There is strength in learning how to wait well. Waiting well does not mean doing nothing. It means continuing to prepare while time unfolds. It means improving your habits, sharpening your skills, strengthening your mindset, and expanding your understanding. Waiting well means you treat delay as a classroom instead of a cage. You study the lesson instead of resenting the season. And when you approach it that way, the time does not feel wasted. It feels purposeful. Patience is one of the greatest abilities delay can teach. Patience is not passive. It is active trust. It is the decision to remain steady even when results are slow. Patience trains your emotions not to panic when progress is gradual. It trains your thoughts not to assume failure when outcomes take time. It trains your actions to remain consistent instead of impulsive. That steadiness becomes a powerful advantage because life rarely rewards those who quit early. It rewards those who stay long enough to see their effort compound. Delay also humbles you in a healthy way. It reminds you that you are part of a process bigger than your immediate desires. Humility opens you to learning. When you are humble, you listen more, you observe more. You observe more. You grow more. Arrogance resists growth because it assumes it already knows enough. Delay softens arrogance and strengthens humility. And humility is fertile ground for wisdom, improvement, and transformation. There will be moments when delay tests your belief. You may wonder whether your effort matters. You may question whether your goal is possible. You may feel tempted to stop trying. Those moments are not signs that you should quit. They are moments that strengthen your determination if you push through them. Every time you continue despite uncertainty, you reinforce resilience. Every time you persist despite doubt, you strengthen confidence. Over time, that resilience and confidence become unshakable quality that support you long after the delay is over. It helps to remember that delay is temporary. No season lasts forever. Winter eventually becomes spring. Night eventually becomes morning. Waiting eventually becomes arrival. When you remind yourself that delay has an ending, it becomes easier to endure. You stop seeing it as a permanent condition and start seeing it as a temporary phase. That perspective gives you hope. And hope is powerful because it fuels endurance. Endurance keeps you moving. Movement keeps you progressing. Progress eventually leads you out of delay and into the result. Preparation seasons shape your identity. They teach you who you are when nothing is guaranteed. They show you how you respond when recognition is absent. They reveal whether your dedication depends on applause or on purpose. Discovering those answers is valuable because it helps you understand yourself more clearly. Self-understanding is a form of strength. When you know yourself, you can guide yourself. When you can guide yourself, you are less dependent on circumstances to determine your direction. One day, you may look back on a delay that once frustrated you and realize it was one of the most important periods of your life. You may see that it taught you discipline, patience, gratitude, resilience, wisdom, and faith. You may realize that without that time, you would not have been ready for what eventually came. What once looked like an obstacle may reveal itself as a foundation. What once felt like a pause may reveal itself as preparation. And what once seemed like punishment may reveal itself as protection. So when you find yourself in a season where progress feels slow, remind yourself that slowness does not mean stagnation. When doors seem closed, remind yourself that construction often happens behind closed doors. When results seem delayed, remind yourself that development often takes longer than you expect. Hold your commitment steady. Keep your effort consistent. Keep your mindset focused. Trust that preparation is happening even if you cannot measure it yet. Delays are preparation seasons, not punishment seasons. They are workshops where strength is built, classrooms where wisdom is learned, and training grounds where character is formed. They do not exist to stop you. They exist to shape you. And when you allow them to shape you instead of discourage you, you come out of them stronger, wiser, steadier, and more ready than you ever were before. Positive words create powerful realities, and whether people realize it or not, the language they use every day is quietly shaping the direction of their lives. Words are not just sounds or symbols. Words are instructions. They are signals sent from your mind to your body, from your thoughts to your actions, from your beliefs to your future. Every sentence you repeat, especially the ones you say about yourself, becomes a blueprint that your life gradually follows. The reason this happens is simple. Your mind is always listening. It does not filter out your casual statements from your serious ones. It absorbs what you repeatedly say and begins to treat it as truth. Once it accepts something as truth, it starts adjusting your perception, your emotions, and your behavior to match it. When someone constantly speaks negatively, saying things like nothing works out for me, I always fail, I'm not good enough, or life is against me, those phrases don't disappear after they are spoken. They linger. They sink into the subconscious. They become mental programs running quietly in the background. Over time, those programs influence decisions. They cause hesitation where there should be confidence. They create fear where there should be curiosity. They produce doubt where there should be determination. Eventually, the person begins to experience outcomes that match the negative script they've been repeating. It can look like bad luck, but often it is the result of internal language shaping external behavior. Positive words work the same way, but in the opposite direction. When you consistently speak possibility, growth, and belief, your mind begins to align with those messages. It starts looking for ways to make them real. If you say, I am learning, your mind searches for lessons. If you say, I am improving, your mind looks for progress. If you say, I will find a way, your mind starts generating ideas. These shifts may feel small at first, but they are powerful because they influence your daily actions. And daily actions, repeated over time, are what create results. The transformation does not happen because words are magic. It happens because words guide focus, and focus guide behavior. Language is one of the strongest forces shaping human experience because it affects interpretation. Two people can face the same challenge and describe it in completely different ways. One might say, this is impossible, while the other says, this is difficult but doable. The situation is identical, yet their words create different emotional states. The first person feels defeated before even trying. The second person feels challenged but capable. Those feelings lead to different actions. One avoids effort, the other attempts solutions. Eventually, their results match the emotional state created by their words. The difference did not begin with talent or opportunity. It began with language. Positive words do not mean pretending life is perfect or ignoring real problems. They mean choosing language that empowers rather than weakens. Saying this is hard is honest. Saying this is hopeless. Saying this is hopeless is limiting. Saying I made a mistake is truthful. Saying I am a failure is destructive. The first statements describe situations. The second statements define identity. And when language starts defining identity negatively, it becomes a cage. Positive language breaks that cage by separating who you are from what you experience. It reminds you that challenges are events, not definitions, are events, not definitions. Another reason positive words create powerful realities is that they influence persistence. When people speak discouraging words, they drain their own motivation. Telling yourself there's no point makes effort feel pointless. Saying you will never succeed makes practice feel useless. But when you speak encouraging words, you fuel endurance. Telling yourself progress is coming makes effort feel worthwhile. Saying improvement is possible makes practice feel meaningful. Motivation is not only created by results, it is created by the story you tell yourself about those results. Language is the tool that shapes that story. Your brain responds to repeated language the way soil responds to repeated planting. Whatever you plant consistently begins to grow. If you plant criticism, doubt grows. If you plant belief, confidence grows. If you plant fear, hesitation grows. If you plant hope, courage grows. The soil does not choose what grows, it simply nurtures what is planted. Your mind works the same way. It nurtures the thoughts and words you repeat most often. That means you are constantly planting seeds with your speech, whether you realize it or not. Over time, those seeds become habits of thinking. Habits of thinking become patterns of behavior. Patterns of behavior become the reality you live in. Positive language also changes how you respond to setbacks. Setbacks are inevitable in any meaningful journey. No path of growth is completely smooth. But the way you talk during those moments determines whether the setback becomes a stopping point or a stepping stone. If you say this proves I can't do it, you close the door on possibility. If you say this is part of learning, you keep the door open. The event itself is neutral. Your words assign meaning to it. That meaning shapes your next move, and your next move shapes what happens next. Many people underestimate the effect of small daily statements. They think only big speeches or dramatic affirmations matter. In reality, the quiet phrases you repeat casually have the strongest impact because they are frequent. A single powerful statement once a month cannot outweigh negative self-talk every day. Consistency is what gives words their power. When positive language becomes a daily habit rather than an occasional effort, it starts to reshape your mindset in lasting ways. It becomes your default voice instead of a temporary boost. Positive words also influence how others respond to you. Communication is energy as much as information. When you speak with hope, confidence, and possibility, people feel that tone. They sense your belief. That energy often makes them more open, more supportive, and more willing to engage with you. On the other hand, constant negative language can push people away because it creates heaviness. This does not mean you must be cheerful every second. It means the general tone of your words shapes the atmosphere around you. And that atmosphere can either attract opportunities or repel them. Another important aspect is self-trust. The way you speak to yourself affects how much you believe in your own ability. If your internal dialogue is constantly critical, you start doubting your decisions. If your internal dialogue is supportive, you begin trusting your judgment. Self-trust is crucial because it allows you to act without constant hesitation. And action is necessary for progress. Positive words strengthen self-trust by reminding you that you are capable of learning, adapting, and improving. There is also a connection between language and imagination. Words create pictures in your mind. When you describe your future positively, you paint a mental image, a possibility. That image becomes something you can aim toward. It gives your effort direction. Without that image, your actions can feel random or uncertain. Positive language builds a clear vision, and vision acts like a compass. It keeps you moving forward even when the path is not obvious. Some people resist positive language because they think it sounds unrealistic. They believe speaking optimistically means ignoring reality. But positive language is not about denying facts. It is about choosing empowering interpretations of those facts. Reality may say you have a challenge. Positive language says you can face it. Reality may say progress is slow. Positive language says progress is still happening. This mindset does not distort reality. It strengthens your ability to deal with it. Your environment can influence your words, but your words can also influence your environment. If you grow up around negativity, you may learn negative language patterns. But once you become aware of them, you can choose differently. You can begin replacing limiting phrases with empowering ones. At first, this requires effort. You may have to catch yourself mid-sentence and rephrase. You may have to consciously choose better wording, but over time it becomes natural. The new language pattern replaces the old one, and your mindset shifts along with it. Positive words are especially powerful during difficult seasons. When life feels uncertain, your language can either deepen your discouragement or strengthen your resilience. Saying nothing will ever change can make a hard moment feel permanent. Saying this is temporary can give you hope. Hope does not remove difficulty, but it gives you strength to endure it. That strength is often the difference between quitting and continuing. It is also important to speak positively about your progress, not just your goals. Many people only use encouraging language when talking about the future, but they criticize themselves when reflecting on the present. This creates imbalance. If you never acknowledge your growth, you may feel like you are always behind. Positive language helps you recognize improvement, even if it is small. Recognizing improvement builds momentum. Momentum makes further progress easier. Words shape identity. If you repeatedly describe yourself as determined, resilient, and capable, you begin acting in ways that match those descriptions. If you repeatedly describe yourself as unlucky, weak, or incapable, you begin acting in ways that match those instead. Identity is not only formed by what you do, it is formed by what you say about what you do. Positive language strengthens an identity that supports growth. Another reason positive words create powerful reality is that they influence emotional chemistry. The brain reacts to language. Encouraging words can calm stress and increase motivation, while harsh words can trigger anxiety and tension. Over time, these emotional responses affect your health, your energy, and your focus. Positive language supports a mental state that is more creative, more open, and more solution-oriented. That state makes it easier to solve problems and pursue goals. It is helpful to remember that words spoken internally are just as important as words spoken aloud. You may encourage others while criticizing yourself, but your mind hears both voices. The goal is to align them so that the encouragement you give outwardly is the same encouragement you give inwardly. When your internal language becomes supportive, your confidence becomes steadier because it is not dependent on outside approval. Positive words also strengthen patience. When results take time, negative language can make you feel stuck. Positive language reminds you that progress is still unfolding. It shifts your focus from how far you have to go to how far you have come. That shift reduces frustration and increases persistence. Persistence, maintained long enough, eventually produces visible change. Language is one of the few tools you can use instantly to change your mindset. You may not be able to change your situation immediately, but you can change how you describe it. And the moment you change how you describe it, you change how you experience it. That shift can happen in seconds. A single sentence can turn discouragement into determination if it redirects your focus toward possibility. Positive words create powerful realities because they shape belief, guide focus, influence emotion, direct action, and reinforce identity. They are not decorations added to life after success arrives. They are building materials used to construct success before it appears. Every encouraging statement is like placing another brick in the foundation of your future. Brick by brick, sentence by sentence, thought by thought. That foundation becomes strong enough to support the life you want. So the language you choose today matters more than you might think. The phrases you repeat, the descriptions you use, and the declarations you make are all shaping the direction you are moving. Speak in ways that strengthen you. Speak in ways that expand your vision. Speak in ways that remind you of your potential. Because the words you consistently use do not fade into silence. They echo into your actions, and your actions echo into your reality. Growth is happening even when you can't see it yet. And understanding that truth can completely transform the way you interpret your life, your struggles, and your progress. Most people measure growth only by visible evidence. They look for clear results, obvious improvements, or immediate changes. And if they don't see them, they assume nothing is happening. But the most powerful forms of growth rarely announce themselves with noise. They unfold quiet, steadily, and often invisibly long before they ever appear on the surface. Just because something isn't visible does not mean it isn't real. Just because you can't measure it yet does not mean it isn't developing. In fact, some of the most important growth happens precisely in those moments when it seems like everything is still. Think about how development works in nature. Before a seed becomes a plant, it transforms underground where no one can watch. Beneath the soil, roots are forming, strength is building, and structures taking shape. If you judge that seed only by what you saw above the ground, you might think nothing was happening. But beneath the surface, a complex process would already be underway. Your life works the same way. There are seasons when your progress is visible and celebrated, and there are seasons when your progress is hidden and silent. The hidden seasons are not empty. They are foundational. They are the periods when your character deepens, your mindset strengthens, your skills sharpen, and your resilience grows. Those things are not always visible immediately, but they are real and they matter. One of the biggest reasons people become discouraged is because they expect growth to feel dramatic. They expect a sudden breakthrough, a clear turning point, or a moment where everything changes instantly, but growth is usually subtle. It shows up in small improvements, tiny shifts, and gradual changes that accumulate over time. It might be the moment you stay calm in a situation that used to frustrate you. It might be the day you keep going when you would have quit before. It might be the realization that something which once intimidated you no longer has the same power. These changes may not look impressive from the outside, but they are evidence that you are evolving from the inside. And inner evolution is what eventually produces outer transformation. Invisible growth requires patience because it demands trust without proof. It asks you to believe in progress before results appear. That can feel uncomfortable because human nature often wants certainty. We want reassurance that our effort is working. We want confirmation that our time is not being wasted. But growth does not always provide instant confirmation. Sometimes it asks you to continue anyway. It asks you to trust the process even when the process is quiet. That trust is not weakness, it is strength. It means you understand that development takes time, and that time is part of the process, not an obstacle to it. Another reason growth can be hard to see is that it often happens internally before it happens externally. Before your life changes, your thinking changes. Before your circumstances improve, your perspective improves. Before your results expand, your understanding expands. These internal shifts can be difficult to notice because they happen gradually, but they are powerful because they change how you respond to the world. When your thinking improves, your decisions improve. When your decisions improve, your actions improve. When your actions improve, your results eventually improve. The visible change comes last, not first. Many people give up during invisible growth seasons because they mistake silence for stagnation. They assume that if they don't see immediate progress, their effort must be pointless. But silence does not mean nothing is happening. Silence often means something is developing quietly. Consider how muscles grow. When you exercise, you don't see growth instantly. In fact, sometimes you feel sore or tired instead. But inside your body, tiny changes are occurring. Fibers are repairing. Strength is building. Capacity is increasing. Over time, those invisible changes become visible strength. If you stopped exercising just because you couldn't see results immediately, you would interrupt the process that was already underway. Invisible growth also strengthens your character. When progress is obvious, it's easy to stay motivated because results encourage you. But when progress is hidden, you have to rely on discipline instead of excitement. Discipline is deeper than excitement because it doesn't depend on immediate reward. It depends on commitment. And commitment is one of the most valuable qualities you can develop. It keeps you moving when motivation fades. It keeps you focused when distractions appear. It keeps you consistent when results are slow. That consistency is what eventually turns invisible growth into visible success. There is something powerful about continuing to work, learn, improve without external validation. It teaches you to value progress for its own sake rather than for applause. It teaches you to measure growth by who you are becoming, not just by what you are achieving. That shift is important because external recognition is unpredictable. Sometimes it comes quickly, sometimes slowly, and sometimes not at all. But internal growth is always available if you choose it. And internal growth is what prepares you to handle external success responsibly when it arrives. Invisible growth also builds resilience. When you keep going without visible proof, you strengthen your ability to endure uncertainty. You learn how to stay steady even when outcomes are unclear. That steadiness becomes a powerful advantage because life rarely provides constant reassurance. Challenges appear, delays happen, plans change. In those moments, resilience keeps you grounded. It reminds you that progress can still be happening even if you cannot see it yet. Yet, that reminder helps you stay patient instead of panicking, persistent instead of panicking, persistence instead of quitting. Another reason growth can be difficult to notice is that you are with yourself every day. Because you see your own journey up close, small changes can feel ordinary. But if you compare who you are now to who you were months or years ago, you may realize how much has actually shifted. Perhaps you handle stress better. Perhaps you understand yourself more clearly. Perhaps you have developed skills you didn't have before. Perhaps your confidence has grown. These changes didn't appear overnight. They developed gradually, one day at a time, until they became part of you. Growth often looks slow while it's happening and obvious once it's complete. Invisible growth teaches humility as well. It reminds you that progress is not always dramatic, and that improvement is often a quiet process. Humility keeps you open to learning. When you believe you still have room to grow, you remain curious. You keep asking questions. You keep seeking understanding. That curiosity fuels development because it keeps your mind active and engaged. Arrogance, on the other hand, can stop growth because it assumes there is nothing left to learn. Invisible growth keeps you grounded in the awareness that development is ongoing. Trust in unseen growth also reduces comparison. When you believe progress only counts if it is visible, you may compare yourself constantly to others whose results are more obvious. But when you understand that growth can be hidden, you realize that appearances don't tell the full story. Someone else's visible success does not mean they grew faster than you. It may simply mean that growth is shown a different way or at a different time. Your journey is not identical to theirs, so your timeline does not have to match theirs. This understanding frees you from unnecessary pressure and allows you to focus on your own path. Invisible growth is often the stage where foundations are built. Foundations are rarely admired because they are underground, but they are essential because they support everything that comes later. A building without a strong foundation may look impressive at first, but it will not last. The same is true for personal development. If your foundation is strong, your success can stand. If your foundation is weak, success may collapse under pressure. The seasons when you feel like nothing is happening may actually be the seasons when your foundation, and that strength will support you when your life begins to rise. There will be times when you feel impatient and want proof that your effort matters. In those moments, it helps to remember that progress is not always immediate. Some changes require repetition. Some skills require practice. Some lessons require experience. These processes cannot be rushed without losing their value. Time is not your enemy during growth. Time is your partner. It gives development the space it needs to unfold fully. Instead of resisting that timing, you can learn to work with it. When you do, you stop feeling stuck and stop feeling prepared. Invisible growth also shapes your identity. Each time you choose discipline over distraction, you become more disciplined. Each time you choose courage over fear, you become more courageous. Each time you choose persistence over quitting, you become more persistent. These identity shifts happen quietly, but they are powerful because they change how you see yourself. And how you see yourself influences what you believe you can achieve. When your self-image strengthens, your actions follow. When your actions improve, your results eventually reflect that improvement. Sometimes the reason growth is invisible is because it is happening in areas you did not expect. You might be focused on one goal while growth is occurring in your mindset, your patience, or your emotional strength. These forms of progress may not match the outcome you originally imagined, but they are still valuable because they prepare you for future opportunities. Growth is not always linear. It does not always follow the path you predicted, but it often leads you exactly where you need to be. Believing unseen growth is an act of faith in yourself. It means trusting that your effort is not wasted, that your learning is not pointless, and that your persistence is not in vain. That belief keeps you moving when doubt tries to stop you. It keeps you practicing when results are slow. It keeps you committed when recognition is absent. Over time, that steady commitment compounds. What once felt like small effort becomes significant progress. What once felt like slow change becomes noticeable transformation. Growth is happening even when you can't see it yet. It is happening in your habits, in your mindset, in your discipline, in your patience, and your understanding. It is happening in the way you respond to challenges, in the way you think about possibilities, and in the way you carry yourself through uncertainty. Just because it is quiet does not mean it is weak. Just because it is gradual does not mean it is small. Quiet growth can be powerful. Gradual growth can be lasting. And when it finally becomes visible, it often reveals strength that was forming all along. So keep going, even when progress feels invisible. Keep learning, even when improvement feels slow. Keep believing when results feel distant. Because growth does not always announce itself while it is happening. Sometimes it waits until the right moment to reveal how much has changed. And when that moment arrives, you may realize that what felt like stillness was actually transformation in motion all along. Appreciation attracts acceleration. And while that idea may sound simple at first, its depth becomes clear when you truly understand how appreciation transforms the way you think, the way you act, and the way life responds to you. Most people believe progress comes only from effort, and effort is certainly important, but effort alone does not determine momentum. The attitude you carry while you work shapes how effective that effort becomes. When appreciation is present, effort feels lighter, focus becomes sharper, patience grows stronger, and opportunities become easier to recognize. Appreciation does not replace hard work. It amplifies it. It acts like fuel poured onto a steady flame, making it burn brighter, stronger, and faster. Appreciation begins with awareness. It requires you to notice what already exists in your life rather than obsessing over what is missing. That shit might seem small, but it changes your entire emotional state. When you focus only on what you lack, your mind fills with frustration. Frustration drains energy. Low energy slows progress. But when you focus on what you have, even if it seems small, your mind fills with gratitude. Gratitude creates positive energy. Positive energy increases motivation. Increased motivation leads to action, and action is what moves you forward. In this way, appreciation becomes a catalyst. It doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you move better. Acceleration happens when your movement becomes consistent and efficient. Appreciation supports consistency because it keeps discouragement from taking control. Many people start strong but lose momentum when results take time. They become impatient. They feel like their effort is not working. They begin to question whether they should continue. But someone who practices appreciation regularly sees progress differently. They notice small improvements. They value lessons learned. They recognize growth that others might overlook. Because they see these signs of progress, they stay encouraged. Because they stay encouraged, they keep going. Because they keep going, their progress compounds. That compounding effect is what creates acceleration. There is also a psychological reason appreciation speeds. The brain is designed to pay attention to whatever you emphasize repeatedly. If you constantly emphasize problems, your mind becomes skilled at finding more problems. If you constantly emphasize blessing, your mind becomes skilled at finding more opportunities. Appreciation trains your perception to notice possibilities that might otherwise pass you by. Those possibilities often appear in subtle forms, such as a conversation, an idea, a connection, or a chance to learn something new. Someone who lacks appreciation may ignore those moments because they are too focused on what isn't happening yet. Someone who practices appreciation recognizes them and takes advantage of them. Over time, those small moments create big results. Appreciation also improves your relationship with effort itself. When you appreciate the chance to work towards something, effort stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a privilege. That mental shift is powerful because it removes resistance. Resistance slows you down. It makes tasks feel heavier than they are. But appreciation removes that weight. It allows you to approach your goals with eagerness rather than reluctance. When eagerness replaces reluctance, productivity increases. When productivity increases, progress speeds up. This is how appreciation quietly creates acceleration from the inside out. Another reason appreciation attracts acceleration is that it strengthens resilience. Challenges are unavoidable in any meaningful pursuit. There will be obstacles, delays, and unexpected difficulties. Without appreciation, those moments can feel overwhelming. You might interpret them as signs that you are failing or that you should stop. But when appreciation is part of your mindset, you see challenges differently. You may still feel the difficulty, but you also recognize the value hidden within it. You appreciate the lesson the obstacle can teach. You appreciate the strength you gain by overcoming it. That perspective helps you recover faster from setbacks. Instead of staying stuck in frustration, you move quickly back into action. That quick recovery keeps your momentum alive. But appreciation also influences the way others respond to you. People are naturally drawn to those who show gratitude and positivity. When you express genuine appreciation, it creates warmth. It builds trust. It strengthens relationships. Strong relationships often lead to support, guidance, collaboration, and opportunity. None of these can be forced, but appreciation invites them. When people feel valued, they are more likely to encourage you, help you, or open doors for you. In that sense, appreciation doesn't just change your internal world, it changes your external environment. It attracts connections that can speed up your journey. There's something powerful about acknowledging progress while it is still small. Many people wait until they achieve a major milestone before they allow themselves to feel proud or grateful. But waiting that long can make the journey feel empty. Appreciation allows you to celebrate along the way. Each small step becomes meaningful. Each improvement becomes motivating. Each lesson becomes rewarding. That steady stream of positive reinforcement keeps your spirit energized. And when your spirit is energized, your pace naturally increases because you are not dragging yourself forward. You are moving willingly. Appreciation also sharpens focus. When you appreciate something, you pay attention, strengthens awareness. Awareness helps you notice details. Details help you make better decisions. Better decisions lead to better outcomes. This chain reaction shows how appreciation indirectly accelerates progress. It improves your ability to see clearly, think clearly, and act clearly. Clarity is one of the fastest ways to move forward because confusion wastes time. Appreciation reduces confusion by grounding you in what is real and present, rather than what is missing or imagined. Another important aspect of appreciation is that it reduces comparison. Comparison can slow progress because it shifts your attention away from your own path. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you may feel discouraged or distracted. Appreciation keeps your focus on your own journey. It reminds you of what you have achieved, what you have learned, and how far you have come. That focus strengthens confidence. Confidence increases decisiveness. Decisiveness speeds action, and faster action, when guided by wisdom, often leads to faster results. Appreciation also changes how you experience time. When you are ungrateful, time can feel slow and frustrating. You may feel like nothing is happening quickly enough, that impatience can tempt you to rush or quit. But when you are appreciative, time feels purposeful. You see each day as an opportunity rather than an obstacle. That mindset helps you use your time wisely. Instead of wasting it on frustration, you invest it in growth. Over weeks, months, and years, that difference in how you use time creates a major difference in outcome. Some people think appreciation means settling for less, but the opposite is true. Appreciation does not lower your ambition. It strengthens it. When you appreciate what you have, you build a stable emotional foundation. That stability allows you to pursue bigger goals without feeling desperate or incomplete. Desperation can lead to poor decisions because it pushes you to chase results without preparation. Appreciation keeps you grounded so you can pursue success with patience and clarity. That grounded approach often leads to faster, more sustainable progress. Appreciation also strengthens discipline. When you are grateful for the opportunity to in practice, stops feeling like punishment. It feels like progress. This mindset makes it easier to repeat actions consistently. Consistency is the engine of acceleration because repeated effort compounds. Each day of practice builds on the last. Each improvement adds to the previous one. Over time, the results multiply. Appreciation fuels that consistency by making the process enjoyable enough to continue. There is also a deeper level of appreciation that involves recognizing challenges as part of growth. When you can appreciate even difficult experiences for what they teach you, you become nearly unstoppable. Hard moments stop feeling like barriers and start feeling like training. This perspective keeps you moving forward even in adversity. While others may slow down and stop when they encounter difficulty, you continue. That difference in response creates a difference in speed. You move ahead not because your path is easier, but because your mindset is stronger. Appreciation attracts acceleration because it aligns your thoughts, emotions, and actions in the same direction. When those three elements are aligned, your energy is not scattered. You are focused. Focus increases efficiency. Efficiency saves time. Save time allows you to accomplish more. The result is faster progress without unnecessary stress. Alignment is powerful because it eliminates internal conflict. Instead of fighting yourself with doubt or negativity, you support yourself with gratitude and belief. Another powerful effect of appreciation is that it keeps you present. When you appreciate the moment you are in, you engage with it fully. Full engagement improves performance because your attention is not divided. You are not worrying about the past or obsessing over the future. You are using your energy where it matters most, right now. Since every result is created in the present moment, being fully present increases the quality of what you produce. Higher quality results often appear sooner, which again creates acceleration. Appreciation also strengthens hope. Hope is essential for long journeys because it keeps your vision alive when results are slow. Without hope, effort can feel pointless. With hope, effort feels meaningful. Appreciation feeds hope by reminding you that good things already exist in your life. If good things exist now, it becomes easier to believe more good things can exist later. That belief keeps you moving forward with confidence rather than fear. It is important to understand that appreciation is a practice, not a one-time action. It grows stronger the more you use it. The more you intentionally notice what is good, the more natural that habit becomes. Over time, appreciation becomes your default response rather than something you have to remind yourself to do. When that happens, your mindset shifts permanently. You begin living a state of awareness that supports progress every day. That steady support is what allows acceleration to continue rather than fade. Appreciation attracts acceleration because it energizes your spirit, sharpens your focus, strengthens your resilience, deepens your relationships, and fuels your consistency. It turns ordinary effort into powerful momentum. It transforms waiting into preparation. It converts small steps into meaningful progress. It aligns your inner world with your outer goals so that everything inside you is moving in the same direction as everything you want to achieve. When you truly understand this principle, you stop waiting for success to appreciate life. and you start appreciating life so success can grow. You realize that gratitude is not the reward at the end of the journey. It is the force that moves the journey forward. And once appreciation becomes part of who you are, celebration is no longer something you chase. It is something you naturally experience as your mindset, actions, and opportunities begin moving together toward the future you are building. Your mindset determines your momentum. That means the speed of your growth, the direction of your future, and the strength of your persistence are all shaped by the way you think every single day. People often wait for motivation to show up before they act, but momentum doesn't come from waiting. Momentum comes from deciding. The moment your mind makes a firm decision that you will move forward, no matter what stands in your way, your life begins to shift. Progress starts internally long before it shows externally, and the thoughts you entertain quietly become the forces that loudly shape your reality. Most people underestimate how powerful a single mindset shift can be. They think change requires dramatic action, huge opportunities, or perfect timing. In truth, change begins the instant you replace a limiting belief with an empowering one. When your mind says, "I can't," your body obeys. When your mind says, "I try," your effort stays small. But when your mind says, "I will," something awakens inside you, energy rises, focus sharpens, courage appears. That internal command becomes fuel, and that fuel creates motion. Momentum is simply belief in motion, confidence in action, and vision refusing to sit still. There are people with talent who never move forward because their mindset keeps them parked. There are people with average ability who accelerate past everyone because their mindset keeps them in gear. Skill matters, yes, but mindset determines whether skill is used or wasted. A powerful mind will find a way even when conditions are hard, while a negative mind will find excuses even when conditions are perfect. This is why two people can stand in the same situation and walk away with completely different outcomes. One sees obstacles, the other sees opportunities. One hesitates, the other advances. One doubts, the other decides. Momentum loves clarity. Confusion slows you down, but clarity speeds you up. When you know what you want, why you want it, and who you must become to achieve it, your mind stops wandering and starts directing. Direction is powerful because energy flows where focus goes. If your thoughts are scattered, your progress will be scattered. If your thoughts are focused, your progress will be focused. A disciplined mind is like a laser, precise, intense, and unstoppable. It doesn't waste energy worrying about things it cannot control. Instead, invest energy into actions that create results. Your mindset also determines how you interpret difficulty. Challenges are guaranteed in any meaningful journey, but your interpretation of those challenges determines whether they slow you down or speed you up. If you see hardship as proof you should quit, your momentum dies. If you see hardship as proof you are growing, your momentum multiplies. The obstacle itself is neutral. Your mindset assigns it meaning. The same storm that makes one person retreat can make another person rise. The difference is not strength, resources, or luck. The difference is perspective. Momentum is fragile in the beginning. Like a wheel just starting to turn, it takes extra effort to move it at first. This is the stage where mindset matters most. Early progress is often invisible, slow, and frustrating. Results don't show up immediately, and doubt tries to sneak in. This is where many people stop, not because they lack ability, but because they lack mental endurance. They mistake slow progress for failure. They mistake silence for stagnation. They mistake delay for defeat. But the truth is, momentum is quietly building every time you continue, despite not seeing results yet. A strong mindset understands the law of accumulation. Small actions repeated daily create massive outcomes over time. One disciplined choice may not seem powerful, but repeated disciplined choices create unstoppable force. The mind that understands this stops chasing quick success and starts building lasting success. It stops asking, why is this taking so long? And starts declaring, every step is getting me closer. That shift in thinking transforms frustration into patience and then patience into persistence. When patience and persistence combine, momentum becomes inevitable. Your environment can influence you, but your mindset ultimately decides you. You might be surrounded by negativity, doubt, or criticism, yet still move forward. if your thinking is strong. On the other hand, you might be surrounded by support, opportunity, and resources, yet remain stuck if your thinking is weak. The world around you is not as powerful as the world within you. Once you truly understand that, you stop blaming circumstances and start training your thoughts. You realize that protecting your mindset is as important as protecting your future, because they are connected. Momentum is also sustained by self-talk. The conversations you have with yourself shape your confidence, your courage, and your consistency. If your inner voice constantly tells you that you're behind, not good enough, or destined to fail, your actions will reflect hesitation. But if your inner voice tells you that you're learning, improving, and capable, your actions will reflect determination. The mind listens to what you repeatedly tell it, and eventually it accepts those words as truth. That's why intentional self-talk is not motivational fluff. It's mental programming. There will be days when motivation is low, energy is weak, and results feel far away. Those are the days when mindset matters more than emotion. Anyone can move forward when they feel inspired. True momentum is built by those who move forward even when they feel tired. A disciplined mindset does not add, do I feel like it? It asks, is this necessary? Feelings change daily, but decisions can stay permanent. When your decisions are stronger than your moods, progress becomes consistent. And consistency more than intensity is what creates unstoppable momentum over time. Another truth about mindset is that it determines how you handle success. Some people slow down after their first win because they become comfortable. Others speed up because they become confident. Comfort kills momentum, but hunger feeds it. A growth-focused mind celebrates progress without becoming satisfied by it. It says, this is proof I can do more, instead of saying, this is enough. That mindset keeps you evolving. It keeps you stretching. It keeps you moving. Momentum thrives when you remain grateful for progress, yet hungry for improvement. Comparison is one of the greatest momentum killers, and mindset is the shield against it. When you constantly measure your journey against someone else's timeline, you distract yourself from your own path. The mind that compares loses speed because it wastes energy on insecurity. The mind that focuses gains speed because it invests energy in growth. Your race is unique. Your pace is personal. Your progress is individual. Once your mindset accepts that truth, you stop looking sideways and start looking forward. And when your eyes stay forward, your feet keep moving. A powerful mindset is built intentionally, not accidentally. Just as muscles grow through training, your thinking grows through practice. Reading, learning, reflecting, and surrounding yourself with positive influences all strengthen your mental framework. Every empowering idea you absorb becomes another brick in the foundation of your resilience. Over time, that foundation becomes so strong that doubt cannot shake it and fear cannot crack it. When your mental foundation is solid, momentum becomes natural because nothing inside you is trying to stop you anymore. Momentum is not loud at first. It doesn't always arrive with applause, recognition, or visible breakthroughs. Often it begins quietly in early mornings, late nights, disciplined routines, and unseen effort. A weak mindset dismisses these moments because they look small. A strong mindset honors them because it knows they are seeds. Seeds don't look impressive when they're planted, but they become powerful when they grow. The person who respects small beginnings is the person who eventually experiences big results. Respecting the process is part of building momentum. Your mindset also controls your recovery speed. Everyone falls, everyone fails, everyone experiences setbacks. The question is never whether you will stumble. The question is how quickly you stand again. Some people stay down because their mindset tells them failure is final. Others rise quickly because their mindset tells them failure is feedback. That single interpretation changes everything. When you see mistakes as lessons, you shorten your recovery time. And the faster you recover, the faster your momentum returns. Resilience is simply momentum that refuses to die. Belief is the ignition switch of momentum. Without belief, effort feels pointless. With belief, effort feels powerful. When you truly believe your actions matter, you approach them with intensity. When you doubt your impact, you approach them with hesitation. This is why protecting your belief system is essential. Guard it from negativity, strengthen it with learning, feed it with progress. Because once belief is strong, action becomes bold, and bold action creates visible results. Those results then reinforce belief, creating a cycle of unstoppable forward motion. Your mindset determines whether you start, but it also determines whether you continue. Starting is exciting. Continuing is difficult. The excitement fades, the novelty disappears, and the work becomes routine. This is where many people lose momentum. They mistake boredom for a sign to stop. But a disciplined mindset understands that boredom is often a sign of mastery and progress. It keeps going anyway. It keeps showing up anyway. It keeps showing up anyway. And because it keeps going, it keeps growing. Persistence is simply momentum stretched over time. Gratitude strengthens momentum because it keeps your mind focused on progress instead of lack. When you appreciate how far you come, you gain energy to keep moving forward. When you only focus on how far you still have to go, you risk feeling discouraged. Gratitude is not complacency. It is fuel. It reminds you that improvement is happening, even if perfection hasn't arrived. A grateful mind runs longer, pushes harder, and lasts stronger because it recognizes that every step forward is evidence that the journey is working. Confidence is another product of mindset, and confidence directly affects speed. When you trust yourself, you act faster. When you doubt yourself, you hesitate. Hesitation slows momentum, but trust accelerates it. Confidence doesn't mean you know everything. It means you believe you can figure things out. That belief allows you to move without overthinking every step. It frees you from paralysis and places you in motion. Motion creates experience, creates skill, and skill creates results. All of it begins with the simple decision to trust your own growth. Focus is the steering wheel of momentum. Without it, you may be moving, but you won't be moving in the right direction. A distracted mind wastes motion on things that don't matter. A focused mind channels motion into what does. This is why clarity of purpose is so important. When you know your target, your energy aligns, your decisions align, your habits align. Alignment multiplies speed because nothing inside you is pulling in the opposite direction. Everything works together, and when everything works together, progress accelerates naturally. Ultimately, your mindset determines your momentum because it determines your interpretation, your decisions, your persistence, and your belief. Change your thinking, and you change your pace. Strengthen your perspective, and you strengthen your progress. Train your mind, and you train your life. Momentum is not reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It is available to anyone willing to master their thoughts. Once your mind moves with purpose, your actions follow with power, and when your actions move with power, your life moves forward with unstoppable force. Gratitude is the most powerful magnet for abundance, growth, and peace. Yet so many people overlook its true potential. Gratitude is not just a polite thank you or a fleeting feeling of appreciation. It's a disciplined mindset, a daily practice, and a transformative lens through which life can be experienced more fully. When you consciously cultivate gratitude, you shift your attention from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to opportunity, from fear to faith. That shift is not superficial. It rewires your brain, strengthens your emotional resilience, and fundamentally alters how you interact with the world. What you focus on expands, and gratitude trains your mind to focus on what empowers you rather than what diminishes you. Gratitude begins with awareness. Awareness is the recognition that life is not happening to you, but for you, even in the midst of struggle. Every moment, every challenge, every opportunity carries within it a lesson or a hidden blessing. Most people rush through life without noticing these subtle gifts. They complain about what is missing, judge their circumstances, or compare themselves to others. But when you practice gratitude, you start noticing the small thing, the roof over your head, the breath in your lungs, the people who support you, the lessons that challenge you, and the experiences that expand you. Each recognition strengthens your focus on abundance rather than lack, which is the first step toward building a life of momentum and joy. One of the greatest strengths of gratitude is its ability to transform perspective. Situations that once felt discouraging can become opportunities for growth. Moments of frustration can become lessons in patience and resilience. Days that seem ordinary can reveal hidden miracles when observed through the lens of appreciation. Gratitude does not change reality. It changes your perception of reality. And perception drives behavior. When you see life as a series of blessings rather than burdens, your energy changes. You act differently, respond differently, You create. Your actions are fueled by positivity instead of fear, by faith instead of doubt, This shift allows you to navigate challenges with composure and clarity. Gratitude also strengthens emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. Without gratitude, setbacks can feel like failure, and obstacles can feel like punishment. But when gratitude is present, even difficulties are seen as part of a larger process. You begin to notice what you are learning, how you are growing, and how your character is being refined. Challenges become temporary teachers rather than permanent barriers. When you respond to adversity with gratitude, your mind stays focused on solutions rather than complaints. This mental alignment accelerates recovery, reduces stress, and keeps momentum moving forward. Gratitude has a compounding effect. When you appreciate the people around you, you communicate value and respect. Gratitude strengthens bonds, builds trust, and fosters collaboration. People naturally respond to those who make them feel seen and appreciated. This creates a positive feedback loop. As relationships grow stronger, support and opportunities increase, and your momentum accelerates. Expressing gratitude does not require grand gestures. Simple acknowledgments, sincere words, and consistent recognition of others' contribution have exponential effects over time. A grateful mindset cultivates generosity, empathy, and connection, which are essential pillars for personal and professional growth. Gratitude also enhances your relationship with yourself. Self-appreciation is often overlooked, yet it is critical for inner strength and confidence. Many people are harsher on themselves than they are on anyone else. They focus on mistakes, shortcomings, or unmet expectations. Practicing self-gratitude shifts the focus to what you are doing right, the progress you have made, and the strengths you possess. This internal appreciation is empowering because it reinforces self-worth, strengthens discipline, and reduces self-sabotage. When you value your own journey, it becomes easier to persist, to take risks, and to embrace challenges with courage. Another powerful aspect of gratitude is how it shapes your focus. What you focus on expands, and gratitude directs your focus toward possibilities rather than problems. A mind focused on lack sees barriers. A mind focused on abundance sees pathways. When you consistently notice what is working, what is available, and what is possible, you become solution-oriented. Your energy flows toward creating rather than complaining. Your decisions are informed by opportunities rather than limitations. That focus directly accelerates progress because you are aligned with the resources, people, and circumstances that support your goals. Gratitude also cultivates patience. Many people struggle because they are impatient with the process of growth. They want results immediately and measure success only by outcome. But when you practice gratitude, you begin to recognize the value of the journey itself. You notice the lessons in preparation, the strength in effort, and the wisdom in experience. This recognition reduces frustration and increases persistence. Patience becomes a natural byproduct of appreciation. And persistence plus patience equals momentum over time because you are consistent even when immediate results are not visible. An often overlooked benefit of gratitude is its ability to reduce negative comparison. Comparison slows progress because it shifts attention to what others have that you do not, instead of what you can create with what you have. Gratitude keeps you rooted in your own journey. When you focus on what you have been given, what you have accomplished, and what you are capable of, the desire to compare fades. You recognize that your path is unique, your timing is unique, and your growth is unique, A mind anchored in appreciation is free from constant complaint, distraction, and negative self-talk. It can focus on possibilities, explore options, and innovate. When you value what you have, you are more willing to experiment, take risks, and think outside the box. This mental flexibility is crucial for growth because opportunities often require creativity to recognize and seize. Without gratitude, the mind is rigid and preoccupied. With gratitude, it becomes fluid and visionary. Another key element of gratitude is its effect on physical and mental health. Research consistently shows that gratitude reduces stress, improves mood, strengthens immunity, and increases overall well-being. A body and mind in good health can act faster, endure more, and recover quicker. Momentum requires sustained energy, and gratitude contributes to that energy by reducing the drain of worry, resentment, and negativity. When you are physically and mentally prepared, you are able to respond to challenges efficiently, think clearly, and take consistent action, which accelerates the path to results. Gratitude fosters humility and openness to learning. When you recognize the contributions of others, the guidance you've received, and the lessons hidden in life's challenges, you understand that you are not alone in your journey. That awareness keeps pride in check, which in turn keeps you teachable. Teachable people grow faster because they seek knowledge, apply feedback, and adapt to circumstances. The combination of humility and gratitude creates a mindset that is receptive to improvement, which fuels continuous growth. One of the most transformative aspects of gratitude is that it rewires your brain for positivity. Neural pathways are strengthened by repeated thought patterns. By consistently focusing on what you are grateful for, you reinforce pathways that support optimism, resilience, and motivation. Over time, these pathways become default patterns. You instinctively notice blessings rather than problems, solutions rather than obstacles, and opportunities rather than limitations. This neurological change is permanent reinforcement of a mindset that attracts success and accelerates progress. Gratitude also encourages intentionality. When you appreciate life, you are more conscious of how you spend your time, energy, and resources. You make choices that align with your values, purpose, and goals. You stop reacting impulsively to every distraction, demand, or pressure. Instead, you act deliberately, investing energy in areas that yield the greatest long-term returns. That intentionality is a catalyst for acceleration because it channels effort into high-impact actions instead of wasting it on triviality. Gratitude strengthens consistency, which is the bedrock of momentum. Life is not transformed by occasional bursts of effort. It is transformed by steady, persistent action over time. When you approach every day with appreciation, even routine tasks feel meaningful. You notice progress, celebrate small wins, and maintain energy and focus. That consistent effort compounds into results that are far greater than any single action could produce. Momentum thrives on repetition, and gratitude makes repetition enjoyable rather than tedious. Gratitude also transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Challenges that once felt like insurmountable obstacles become opportunities to practice patience, learn, and adapt. Gratitude reframes difficulty as part of the growth process, allowing you to maintain forward motion instead of getting stuck in frustration or blame. This reframing is essential for sustaining momentum because the ability to keep moving in spite of setbacks separates those who achieve long-term success from those who give up. When you integrate gratitude into your daily life, it becomes more than a feeling. It becomes a lifestyle. It influences your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your relationships, and your results. It aligns your internal state with external goals, creating a powerful force that attracts opportunities, accelerates progress, and deepens fulfillment. The practice of gratitude ensures that every step you take is supported by clarity, positivity, and purpose. Ultimately, gratitude is not a passive act of noticing, is an active commitment to see value and harness the blessings in your life. It transforms perspective, strengthens resilience, builds relationships, improves focus, fosters patience, enhances creativity, and rewires the brain for positivity. It creates a foundation from which momentum naturally grows because a grateful mind is aligned, energized, and motivated. Gratitude turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. It turns waiting into preparation, struggle into strength, and life into a canvas of opportunities waiting to be realized. When you embrace gratitude fully, your life begins to move in ways that seem effortless, yet are powered by conscious attention, intentional focus, and consistent appreciation. It is the force that converts challenges into lessons, limitations into opportunities, and effort into acceleration. A life rooted in gratitude is a life that attracts success, nurtures growth, and experiences abundance in ways that those without appreciation can never achieve. Gratitude is not just a foundation for a better life. It is the engine that propels you toward every goal, dream, and vision you are capable of reaching. In the end, practicing gratitude is practicing acceleration. By focusing on what you have, appreciating what is happening, and valuing each step of your journey, you create a powerful force that amplifies your energy, sharpens your focus, strengthens your resilience, and opens doors to opportunities. Gratitude is not passive, it is active. It's not optional, it is essential. And the more you integrate it into every thought, every action, and every day, the more unstoppable your momentum becomes. The more abundant your results appear, and the more extraordinary your life unfolds. Gratitude ensures that your journey is not just about reaching a destination, but experiencing every step along the way as meaningful, empowering, and transformative. It transforms scarcity into abundance, fear into courage, struggle into growth, and effort into acceleration. It is, in every sense, a life-changing mindset that propels you toward the highest version of yourself, making each day a catalyst for success, each challenge an opportunity, and each moment a reason to keep moving forward. Gratitude is the ultimate positive affirmation. It is a declaration to your mind, your heart, and your life that you see value, recognize blessing, and are open to more. When practiced consistently, it doesn't just change how life happens to you. It changes how life happens through you. It aligns your thoughts, actions, and energy with growth, abundance, and possibility. And in doing so, it becomes the most powerful tool for creating unstoppable momentum, achieving extraordinary results, and living a life of true fulfillment. A life infused with gratitude is a life in motion. It is a life that transforms every challenge into a lesson, every effort into progress, and every opportunity into momentum. It is a life that attracts acceleration, amplifies success, and multiplies blessings. When gratitude is your daily practice, it is impossible to remain stagnant because your mind, your energy, and your actions are constantly aligned with growth. Every thought of appreciation compounds over time, creating a ripple effect that touches every area of your existence. Gratitude, when fully embraced, is not just a habit. It is a lifestyle that redefines success. Success is no longer measured only by outcomes, possessions, or recognition. Success is measured by the energy you bring to life, the relationships you nurture, the lessons you learn, and the joy you cultivate along the journey. Gratitude turns every step into progress, every effort into momentum, and every moment into a celebration of growth. By practicing gratitude relentlessly, you build a life that is unstoppable, abundant, and profoundly fulfilling. Gratitude is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go.